If you tell me you've got a desire, I'm all in. Do you want to grow?
Absolutely.
Take notes and make sure it improves your business. Everybody wants to grow. You deserve to grow.
You don't pitch to investors to try your luck. You pitch to investors to win.
If it's not challenging, I don't think it's worth it.
The right advice to give in business is validate the idea first.
Most of you out there who want to grow, your issue is just starting, isn't it?
It's important that people just follow what they want to do.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime for all of us.
The podcast is not about them growing, it's about them helping others grow. Hello and welcome to I Want to Grow, and I Want to Grow is all about that. Everybody wants to grow, and with our guest today, that's no exception. The only exception is, and it's like with all of our guests, they want to help others grow, and that's why they're guests on our podcast. Elisabete, thank you so much for coming on our podcast today and sharing this in our first podcast in Scale 7.
So proud to be here and just to be the first guest on this podcast at Scale 7. It really humbles me.
It's such an impressive, and there was no other person that was good enough to come here today except you, because you are the biggest influencer in fashion and design, and now in a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Elisabete Reis, and I am an image, etiquette and protocol consultant, and I work with individuals or companies to achieve that look that will give you a step ahead.
You're in Qatar. You've been in Qatar for quite some time. What's your journey been here? How have you got to this level right now?
Well, it's been a very, very fun journey. I've had so many experiences through my journey here, and I've learned so much, and I reached a stage now in my life where I do what I love, and I choose to do just what makes me happy, and that's a great feeling, and that's a great achievement. And I think that everything that happened, the good and bad, just brought me here and made me be happy with everything that I do.
I know you from some time now, and I've been enamored with all the things that you get involved with, and the amount of effort and sacrifice to a certain degree with things that you get involved with, and the way that you help others. And the big example was the World Cup. We were both together as a fan leader, and you worked tirelessly. You were the hardest worker out of all the fan leaders in the whole of the world that was at that World Cup, and you did the most for the Portugal fans.
I was a very proud fan leader. I took the title, and I just decided to actually put my work on hold for those months and just focus on it and give it my all. And to also, I'm in Qatar since 2006. I've seen this country change so much, go through so much. We've been waiting for this World Cup since 2012, working for a successful World Cup. And then to be able of having a role and representing my country and the Portuguese fans, and the Portugal fans, because we had fans from all over the world. It was just an unbelievable experience, and I gave it my all.
You gave it your all. I was the England fan, and I worked hard at it, but you were unbelievable. And the thing about where you say there was Portuguese fans and there was Portugal fans. and there was a difference because everybody had a football team.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
like it was
unbelievable.
magical,
It was
magical. And just to see the people coming from other countries joining your team and you were humbled. I was. There was a couple of times it was emotional for me because you saw how many people loved the England team. They
Very
knew much more than I did from the England team. It was fantastic. That was a really, really unbelievable experience that we'll never forget. With your with this what you do now, how did that come to fruition? Did you look at it back then and say, right, I'm going to do this? Or how did it all transpire? How did it grow for you?
Yeah, it was something that I've always done as a hobby, style my friends, do fun styling days. So it was a hobby that I always had since very young and in my teens and growing up, and it was something that I kind of kept on hold. And when I came to Qatar in 2006, I was working in the aviation area, and I decided this is the right time for a shift of everything. And I did leave my 10 years at the time career in aviation to just focus on the area of image consultancy initially. And then I decided to go a bit further and include etiquette and protocol, which I think complements beautifully. Yeah. And kind of you can't do one without knowing the other. And it just helps people at so many levels and in so many areas of their life. Can be a stay-at-home mom or can be the CEO of a company.
Yeah.
But if you grasp that concept of a great image, not by brands. It has nothing to do with brands. It has all to do with how you carry the look, and how you present yourself and how you enter a room. So is that the image, the right image, that we go through that process of choosing the best colors, your body type, train on body language, posture, voice, presentation.
I'm here now thinking to myself, I've got to sit straight. I've got to kind of make sure
well,
that
it does affect even the way your voice is projected is affected by the posture. Posture is crucial.
Yeah.
So combined with everything, etiquette is a world that I love. I think it just changes people and complements your image at all levels. It empowers you. It gives you confidence. The more you know about yourself, the more you know how to handle different situations, the more you know about how can you handle one person or a group of people, the more empowered you are.
I have one of my friends and they say, put your backside in the back of the chair so that your posture is up straight.
Backbone, I call it. The backbone needs to be right on the back of the chair, so that today we're very relaxed, of course. These chairs are relaxed, but that's the proper way to sit. Is make sure your backbone is touching the back of the chair.
We'll go into the etiquette side of things, but I want to touch on the because you do a lot of work with mentoring and you do a lot of work with helping people with big presentations, how they carry themselves, how they walk to the stage, which we'll go into. But how important is the image? How important is that image to make sure that you get that right?
It's that first impression, and you have less than a second to create a good impression or a bad impression. And again, I emphasize, don't be disheartened if by any reason that day you created the wrong impression or not the impression you wanted. There's always a chance to create a second impression, but there's never a chance to create a first impression. The first is done, gone.
Yeah.
So that is so important that you really know how that step in the stage or how that entrance in the room can affect the business, because it does affect.
And the thing with it, image and perception is everything, they say.
Yes, everything.
But the one thing that I would say from my own experience is that if somebody looks up to you and says, "Whoa, you look on form today. You're looking great," that gives me such a boost. And if only I wish in all of my life that I could have put more effort into it, and I could have took advantage of that, but I didn't. But it does. It gives you such a boost. It gives you your whole persona a different level that you can operate at.
And do you know who is the first person that should give you that boost? Is yourself. Every morning, as cliche as this may sound, every morning, if you look in the mirror and if you compliment yourself instead of judging yourself, your day starts much better. Trust me, I tell this to everyone that I work with, or even to my children. Just look at yourselves in the mirror and compliment yourself first, because we are the number one criticals of ourselves and ready always to criticize. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, my hair. Oh, my face. Oh, my skin. So if you do that exercise of giving yourself a compliment in the morning, first thing before you start with all the doubts and the questions, that will really give you that step ahead in the day. And another thing that I would add to what you just said, Steve, is that receiving a compliment from someone is wonderful. It does give you that boost. But I've seen a lot of people, the second after they receive that compliment, they turn and they're like, do I really look that good? Oh, judging, and they start doubting themselves. So it's almost useless, let me use this word, to receive a good compliment if you can't hone it. You have to know how to hone it. And to know how to hone it, you have to know yourself. You have to work on your confidence.
Yeah. And
I'm very passionate about
this.
Oh, sorry.
Of course, I know you're passionate about this, and that's what I like about it. And I've always said to you, I want to know the colours that suit me best. I love my tie. It's a lucky tie, but I love the tie.
Well.
I love my tie, but I'm always one of those people that I want to look at my image, because I want to love. I didn't like this. I didn't like this when somebody said to me, "You've got to love yourself," and I don't think I did. I've spent a long time of my life that I didn't love the person I was, but I've tended now to accept that and say, looking in the mirror in the morning, and say, "You're all right. You are.
Yeah, you're all right. Yeah. Oh, good morning. Yeah. I mean, you're looking good for someone who just woke up, you know, like."
And that's, exactly, those are the kind of things that I have that conversation with. But it does help. And I try to, any startups that I'm mentoring, not just startups, but people in general, the one thing I like is to give a compliment, because it always helps somebody to, and I won't just give a compliment if a compliment is I'm just fishing for one. I'll look at something that I can identify in them that I've seen that they've made the effort. And it could be what they did. It could be when they weren't noticing. Yes. Those are the things that I like. But I like where you say about the etiquette side of things, because I think that's important, because we all need to make sure that we're doing things properly and things that is going to be respected by you, firstly, and by others.
Yeah. And starts at a very young age, and this is when I really encourage parents to pay more attention. I know we're all very busy nowadays, and we just come home, we're tired, or we do things without noticing. But if those 5 minutes that you set the table, for example, and you just eat properly, and you eat a nice meal, and you use the cutlery, the plates, the glass, and your children sees that, they will hold that.
Yeah,
they will follow that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm giving an example of dining etiquette, but it can be in all areas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the children, they are sponges of their parents. So what they see, they do, or they reflect. It's a mirror. You are a mirror, you know?
Yeah.
And I believe that the more they see you doing things in a certain way, the more they will absorb and the more they will implement in the future.
I think you're right, and I think that the one thing that listening to you now about children especially is doing it in the right way, because I think that I could have looked at it where I could have chastised my kids to do those things, but you haven't got to chastise them. You've got to show them the right way so that they understand it's the right way. And it's that there's a certain way to carry yourself. And my grandmother was always the person that done that with us. You couldn't have your elbows on the table.
Yes. I just love those rules, and people sometimes argue with me and say, "Oh, Elisabeth, we live in a different world, and those times are gone." And no, they're not.
No.
They're just gone if you let them go, you know. But our grandmothers were right, and there's nothing more. I have 3 children, and to see my children interact and engage anywhere in the world with any culture, it just makes me so happy, you know. Knowing that my sons are now abroad in university, and just when they tell me stories of they went here or there and they felt at home, they knew how to handle themselves, and I just like, okay, good.
I think it's magical moments. I've got a football team. I've got 4 children and 5 grandchildren. And I always say this, if somebody fell over right here now, I would have 9 of them queuing up to help them up.
To help them up,
You know, I kind of, and that's the way that...
That's the way. And it's just, and it does help also in with this horrible thing that we live more and more, which is bullying. The more educated and polite your child is, and the more attention you pay to your child, the less inclined to bully or be bullied they are, you know, and because they become more confident. Confidence is key in all areas, from a child to a CEO, from a stay-at-home mom to a CEO, you know. So in all areas of work and of our life, if we are confident, if we know how to handle ourselves, because a lot of people are afraid to mingle, to socialize. And we live this COVID era where everyone was locked at home and kind of didn't know how to go out and start back this socializing thing. And it's so important to know more, to do more, and to be out there more. There's nothing. I know we live in this world of phones, but there's nothing like human interaction.
At all. None at all. And it's funny you should say this, and we're talking about this now. It's with what, and I'm going to ask you to talk about some, not names obviously, but I'm going to ask you to talk about some case studies that you've worked on and how you help them. But how important is it to kind of get people to feel comfortable, to enjoy socializing? It must be so rewarding for you.
It is, because you see that it's like you see a flower blooming, you know, literally. I've seen people that really would even carry that posture of being curved just because they are afraid to look out, you know, to people that enter a room full of people and talk in front of a room full of people. And that is an amazing reward.
I remember you telling me a story once of a lady that couldn't speak in front of anybody, and you got her to the case where she was speaking in front of hundreds of people.
Yes. It was the same person I had in mind just now.
Unbelievable. And the transformation must have been incredible. But how would you start off? What would be the kind of things that you would say at the very beginning to somebody?
Well, it always starts with listening to their story. Everyone has a story, and that story has all the clues you need to understand what can work better, in which specific area can work better. It's always by listening to your story. So I love listening. I'm a very good listener. And I'm very trustworthy. Like, I was always like this. If you tell me something and you ask me to keep a secret, I do. You know. And sometimes you even say, "Oh no, but you could have told them these." Or, sorry, you didn't say so.
It depends if it's an excitable secret. I want to tell everybody. I'm terrible at keeping secrets.
Well, I work in a field where secrets are constant, because, you know, I work with the most deep aspects of yourself, even in your physical image. Or I work with women, for example, that cannot leave the house without makeup. I work with women that their husbands never saw them without makeup. So it's to these extremes.
Yeah.
So, and I believe that you will only be successful the day that you can look at yourself in a mirror without any makeup and nothing and appreciate yourself.
Yeah.
Men have it easier in that sense because you guys mostly don't wear makeup.
Yeah.
But women nowadays really struggle with that, mostly also because of this social media filter effect that they see themselves on their phones, and when they look in the mirror, they forget the filter didn't how do you call it? Didn't shift to the mirror at home. You know what I mean? So that's why I say it's so important, and especially to young children. I do this with my daughter all the time. Like, be careful. How do you post your pictures, or how you go to my social media and you see me now? Of course, there's a little light, a little. I can do a little touch up, but you don't see a different Elisabete. You see my lines, you see everything, because I cannot live any other way. Of course, I like to wear my makeup also, but I can also see myself without any makeup.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the assumption or the assumption of beauty. No,
Yeah.
the standard of beauty is different to everyone. The day you accept yourself without makeup and you can face people without makeup is the day that you can really be successful at any business. And this affects a lot of women I work with. Yeah. And it does affect their children, their friends, because it's your circle, you know. And if you can't be yourself within your circle, that's a big red flag.
It is. And it's something that you've got to keep on constantly working at. But going back to this lady that you told me about, because I'm interested, because I want to know myself, because even though at my stage I do podcasts and people just think that you can talk naturally, but they don't realize the fear that goes every time I do this, and I'm talking in public, or I'm doing a panel show or whatever it may be. The pressure and the fear that you go through, people say, is it fear? It's nervous energy, right? But to go through that, it's really tough. So how do you get somebody from a complete beginner to get up on that stage and do a talk?
First of all, never lose that fear completely. I think fear controlled and to a certain degree makes us keep our feet on the ground. You know what I mean? Like, it makes you alert and makes you confident but not arrogant, which there is a very fine line.
Oh, of course.
Between being confident and being arrogant.
Yeah.
So that a little bit of that fear, the one you feel, for example, is a fear that I don't want you ever to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because that is what makes you so successful at what you do.
Yeah.
You know, you're so easy to talk to. I mean, you are probably one of the gentlest person and kind and
well, I'm honored.
You are, and approachable. You are so approachable because we don't see that fear, but you know you have it and you hold on to it a little bit just to make sure that everything goes right.
Of course. It's not easy. It's not easy, but I've got the thing, feel the fear and do it anyway. So when you are in that time, you kind of, we're kind of, you just look up and say, yeah, we all got it. What you've got to do is control it and lean into it. Lean into that fear and push yourselves. And once you push yourselves, that fear is it's a nice ride, right? And it turns into something very enjoyable.
That's when I say that fear needs to be controlled, because you don't want that fear to hold you to the person you are, and you don't see the person you can be in the future, you know, like that will, if you let that fear control you, you will never see yourself in the future, who you could be and achieve. So that fear needs to exist only to make you grounded and aware. I think fear is good. It makes us aware.
Yeah, of
like
course.
We go in a street, and if we have a little fear, we are aware.
Yeah.
Our senses are aware.
Yeah.
Same on stage. I go on stage often, as you do.
Yeah.
I talk to people. I have now a fantastic opportunity to talk again at the Empower Girls seminar, which
Yeah.
is a seminar I participated before and which I love for young girls and young adults. It's 12 to 18. See the age gap, and
Yeah.
it's all about empowering them. And I'm already having that fear as the date approaches, as I have to do good. The message has to be really clear for a 12-year-old and an 18-year-old to understand and use.
Yeah.
You know, so that this fear makes me alert and not stop thinking about how can I make it better.
That's great advice. Yeah, that's great advice for anybody
And
out
I
there.
strongly believe in it.
Yeah.
In all areas, at all levels. A CEO. I always tell someone at a very high position that they should always have a little bit of fear when they go and face their stuff.
Yeah.
Because that is what makes them relatable, grounded, and the staff will appreciate.
Yeah.
They don't want to appreciate someone arrogant or without any fear, or they want someone relatable.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah. And so we've talked a little bit about that in the presentation. Those key pointers, what are those key pointers that you would say to somebody to try to improve on, to try to handle their business life maybe in a better way, or their office life maybe in a better way? What are those key bits of information that you would give them?
Know more about yourself. Take very good care of your physical image. For me, it's important. I don't believe in, doesn't matter what you wear. It does matter. What doesn't matter is which brand or which style, because
Yeah.
you can be very empowered in a t-shirt and jeans and very empowered in a suit.
Yeah.
Okay, you can. Depends on how, again, you carry yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there are areas of life where you need to know which style suits better your workplace or your environment, makes a difference.
Yep.
If you go to a certain workplace dressed in a suit, and that workplace is a designer's creative hub, maybe you don't need a suit there, right? Yeah. But if you go to the bank and you are the director there, a suit is required, and this makes a difference.
Yeah.
So know yourself, know which situation you know how to dress for each situation that you encounter in your life. Understand all you can about the power of body language, presentation skills.
Whoa, yeah.
And study. Never stop learning, never stop reading, never stop getting better. Never take it for granted. I know it all. No, I don't. You know, these days I did something very interesting, and someone asked me what I would recommend, and I said, I would recommend a Train the Trainer course. This was all at a high level. And they were like, a Train the Trainer? Yes, it starts with us. To the trainers, we need training.
Yep.
You know, we need constant updating. We need different minds sharing their ideas, you know, because you can be an etiquette consultant like myself, but the way you learn and the way you share is totally different from mine. I'm going to learn from you.
Yeah.
You know, so never stop learning. So let's say, take care of your image, know more about yourself, learn everything you can about the power of these tools that are image, body language, presentation skills.
Yeah.
Know who is the audience and go very well prepared.
That's great. That is great advice. And
I mean, this is out of the blue. If you give me some time, I can.
It's just perfect because of the things that I do. That's just perfect. Perfect advice. Body language you mentioned. I find this so useful, and it all comes. It's not something that I've studied. It's something that I've picked up over the way. But what are those? What are those easy signs that you can kind of adopt? Those things, and what you should be looking for also.
Let's go back to the grandmother. Sit with your back straight. Don't slouch.
Yeah.
Right? it's all correct.
Yeah.
Because if you look at someone, and now we look at people constantly on our phones or anything, and if you see someone in a position of power, for example, giving a speech slouching, that person gains less votes than a person that shares her speech with a proper body language. It's as simple as that. Body language affects the perception and affect the result and affects everything. So those small things that you can do as you go, you learn as you go, added to the things that you can learn on how to use the power of your hands, the power of how you emphasize what you're talking about is crucial. Your voice pitch, controlling that voice speech, not to be too loud, not to be too quiet, not to be too
excitable,
too excited, so to learn all of that, those tools are unbelievably strong and powerful.
No, I like those because they are powerful. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were saying about Zoom meetings, and they said take the camera back, don't get too close to the screen, right? Because people feel uncomfortable because they want their own space. I had somebody say to me, you're too close to the screen, you just sit back a bit. And it was just a friend of mine, and it just worked. But then I picked up on somebody said, get it back so that you've got your hands on the table.
Absolutely. I was going to say this, hands are crucial. So when we were testing the cameras and I asked you, what is showing? My legs, I want to know until which part of my body I am showing to understand what can I use. So it's in my mind automatically. So Zoom came and gave us another lesson in conducting meetings or attending meetings. So I did it during the COVID 2 years almost. I don't prefer. I love the one-on-one conversations, the face-to-face, the energy, the synergies, all of that. But of course, it is necessary. And I remember being at home and going to dress up and touch up my hair and looking presentable, and having people telling me, but it's online. Who cares? No. And someone tell me, why you dress up fully? Because I don't know what can happen during this presentation that suddenly I have to run and I will be in my underwear, So always be prepared. If you are prepared, you are comfortable. If you're not prepared, you are uncomfortable and you look not confident.
I literally, what I've started doing is I've started getting one of the cameras, and because the quality at 4K is so much more better, and it's kind of, again, it's all about presentation. It's making sure that
about presentation. And the better you feel and you look, the more confident you will come across the camera.
Of course,
if you are only, you remember that very famous clip that was it BBC journalist or CNN journalist that was caught by his children and by his wife? And then there is an interview where he says he couldn't even leave the table because he was only wearing a shirt and a tie, or I forgot what he was wearing.
Realize.
Or he was not. It was on. I'm not sure if on underwear or shorts. So this is what I've been telling everyone that I mentor on speaking on camera. Be ready. Even shoes on. I put my shoes on to do a online meeting.
And it's funny you should say this because I stand up when I'm on the phone. So I kind of and if it's an important phone, I'll walk backwards and forwards.
See?
and I will literally, and it's something from my early days, but I will literally smile also when I'm on the phone. And people say, oh, you're crazy, they're not going to. But it really does affect the way that you talk and the way that your voice
sounds differently if you speak like this. Or if you speak like this, I mean, you sound friendlier right away.
Of course.
It makes a difference.
And another thing that when you're walking, because I find this when you've got a big call that's going on, that nervous energy inside of you is making your head pop. You know, so I tend to walk backwards and forwards so that I can calm myself down, and I can get myself and be articulate to the conversation. And again, it comes back to etiquette. It comes back to the way that you conduct yourself.
And Steve, good habits. Like, for example, if you let your guard down when you are doing an online meeting, and you're not careful with your body language, you go to a coffee shop or to a meeting room, and your brain is in that autopilot mode, and I guarantee you that sooner or later your legs will be in the same position that they are at home, or you'll be scratching something, or touching your feet, or it does happen. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So the more you train your brain, the more you practice those meetings online in the same way that you would do them presentially, you will affect the outcome, because you will maintain instantly that posture, that etiquette. Understand?
Yeah, of course.
Because it does. Your brain forgets. Suddenly, half an hour in the meeting, and you start to slouch, and you start cross your leg, and I don't know, touch your foot.
Yeah. I was in a Zoom meeting the other day, and it was in a different language, and I had the interpreter there, and I wasn't very much part of that meeting. So somebody came into the room, and they put some nuts on the side. They said, they thought that was being nice. So what do you do? and I'm throwing nuts and eating, and it was nice because there were some lovely raisins, and I ate some more, and I'm getting text messages saying, "Stop eating! Stop eating!"
See, that's the thing. I always alert people to that. As you never know who's looking. I am a mentor in this amazing show. I think we spoke about it before, Stars of Science.
Yeah.
And the best thing that I get from the contestants on many occasions is that, first of all, is that, oh my God, I presented my product feeling so much better after you styled me. And the other thing is I do a lot of when they are in the show and I'm in the backstage, I do a lot of pictures and videos of them sitting and interacting without knowing they are. So, and then I send to them and I say, look at your body language. You never know if a camera is on you, if someone important is in the backstage and is looking at you. And then they realize, because they were like really not paying attention, and they are in front of TV all the time. So I tell them, even when we are not live on the show day, you are in the lab with cameras all around you.
Yeah.
So if you do something that you shouldn't, someone will see it.
Oh, my word.
Someone will see it.
Stars of Science. Do you know Shada? The one that with the pulsate with the bracelet?
Yes.
Whoa,
yes.
she was on the podcast.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm really sorry about Libya. What a dreadful situation there. I send my deepest condolences.
Yes.
But that was incredible. But so we've not put the podcast out this week because of what happened. But what a fantastic individual.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And she's so, I say it on the podcast, you're so strong, you're so determined.
Yes. I tell you, I've been with Stars of Science since season 9. And now we just went live with season 15.
Whoa.
And I've seen so many people, and again, the power of image and what you were saying in the beginning about how does your image affect. You know, when I meet these contestants, they are all PhDs and masters and doctorates and in all areas of their lives with amazing, brilliant inventions, you know.
Yeah.
And not all of them, but many of them, their reaction initially to me was kind of like, who cares what I look? I have my invention here, my product here, you know. And then when I go into the room and I look at them and I said, before you have a chance to talk about your invention, I already judged you just by the way you look.
Oh, what a powerful statement. What a powerful statement.
And then as we go through and they understand the power of image and how they are looking at the camera and how they present themselves and And this is all done quickly. So as soon as they grasp that and they see that it does empower them, besides their great invention, and actually makes their invention even better because they feel confident to present it. Oh my God, that for me is the biggest reward.
I didn't know that you were involved with that, but that is, and I love the thing about you saying, I've already judged you before you even started talking, and it's so true.
Is what really I think makes them open their eyes and wow, I never thought about that.
I got taught a really important factor. Going back, we went to Armenia, and one guy said, always wherever you are in the world. So in here, obviously, they start on the left hand, the right hand side, the writing goes to the left, and then it comes back to the right. So he would always advise for them to stand and present on the right, and with the people that on the left, he was saying stand on the left so that they would read across and they would automatically come. So if they were reading your slides, they would always come back to you and you would be always point of eye contact. And I think that as you were saying with all of this stuff with the pitching, because pitching is really important. But I've never realized just how important you've just said now, the image. You've already judged them. You're kind of looking at.
And this is anywhere.
Yeah.
You are always being judged and judging, even if it's not a bad word, it can be just your opinion about it, as long as you don't voice it whenever you're not asked to or required to. I always tell people, don't share your opinions if nobody asks you. Just think them to yourself, because it can hurt someone's feelings, but you can't avoid it. I can't avoid going places, and my eyes are observing, and my eyes are understanding, and then they are judging.
Yeah.
Good or bad,
of course.
it doesn't matter.
I totally agree. And I'm going to jump onto a subject. We're in Scale 7, incubator with QDB, and in M7. What was your first impressions of this place today?
Wow, this was my first impression. You hear so much about it. You live in Doha. You know about it. You hear so much about it, but coming inside and understanding what they have here, I was like, how can I be a mentor here? Like, I was instantly drawn to, I want to be part of this.
And you did do exactly that. And luckily, Aisha was around, and you kind of had an interaction, and she was already one of your fans.
I had to tell her that I just saw this briefly, and I'm already interested, because it does give you that sense of keep growing.
I must admit that the reason I wanted you to come here, because I know that all the things that you do, and it's great that we talked about all this image and etiquette, and it's so important. We underestimate it sometimes, but I know what you do for people, and looking around this place and introducing you to it. Oh my word! It's going to be so much better with you coming here, because I know what you bring, and I think that this place here is just waiting for. It's had some really good cohorts in incubation, people coming in on and learning, but introducing to. I know that you're going to want to come and do things here,
and people deserve to know more about this place, because this is a place to help, actually, to help you grow in all areas. And I think people are not aware of how much potential this place offers, and people need the support, and
I love the place.
This is amazing.
Anybody, I say to anybody, if you've got a desire, I'll go to the ends of the earth with you. And what they've done here is they've put desire, belief. They are incredible here, and these are one of these the gems in Qatar that people don't really see that often, because everybody's a little bit humble. They've got that it's the culture of being humble. They're not going to shout about it too much, and I think that's our job, is to shout about these type of things.
Definitely.
And that's why I'm so glad that we're here today doing a podcast, because we need to shout about it, and it's something special that gives opportunities to so many different people in an area that they've loved and that they've they've got a desire with, and these are helping that dream progress. I love it
Very
here. I
true.
love it here.
Very true.
What's the next steps for you in these next few months?
Well, I mean, just focusing on the projects I'm doing, to be open for other projects and opportunities. I'm always open for. I want to see. I don't want my habits and my comfort zone to control me. I want to see my future self, and I'm constantly open to new projects, new ideas, new things.
Yeah, I hope more projects come to you because you deserve it, and they deserve you, because you're going to give them so much knowledge and experience from what you've learned and picked up over the years.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much.
It's amazing that you've come and we've eventually done this podcast. It's been a long while coming.
We've been trying it
We've
for a
been
while.
trying. I'm really honoured and privileged, and I know that the people that's watching this video are going to feel exactly the same. You give something special to people, and it's those little things that are going to make a huge difference. I can't wait after the podcast to learn my colours. So I want to know the colours that I've got to wear.
I have a pretty good idea already.
I'm so looking forward to those. But thank you so much for coming to take time, and thanks for coming to this wonderful place.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Everybody, sometimes we go through this life and we just don't realise the importance of making that first impression. And sometimes it's the most simplest things that you have to do to make that first impression, okay? These are some of the things that we spoke about today where you could take real advantage of putting it into place and giving that impression, okay? That first impression is always the most important one, okay? So go out there and get ready for meeting so many people and giving them an amazing first impression. Thank you so much for listening this week. Until next week, bye for now.